And we are live here in the SARG Superspeedway series, folks, on the FRN network. In the booth, it's Michael Norman, and I am Tyler Riggs. And Michael, it's been a minute, but we're back in terms of us being together on air. But man, this series has been something else the first couple weeks. It's the TI Racing 200 here at Daytona today, and 80 laps ought to be a fun one.
Absolutely. I cannot wait. It's Daytona Superspeedway play action. It's going to be one for the books. I can't wait to get this action started tonight.
Yeah, and you've been looking at the points a bit, kind of getting caught up with everything you've seen. We have had a big time battle in terms of a very competitive point series. You mentioned the kind of off air, the points leader, Alex Bell, only 2 points ahead coming into tonight, qualifies fifth here tonight to get this one. And he's going to be looking to keep that points lead, extend it maybe a little bit. But while we got the chance here as we're gridding up, let's go ahead and introduce you to the starting lineup, the top 10. Taking the pole yet again is going to be Lucas Cram in that 44, putting down a 52-238, taking over Brandon Houff in that 9. And then you got Luke Parks in third, starting this one in the number 3. And then the 88 of Clint Spillman going to be starting fourth. The aforementioned Alex Bell in the 15, starting fifth. Gavin Jones in the 12, he will start sixth. Robbie Lyons in that 97 will be starting seventh. Nick Olson in the 24 will be starting eighth. Brett Murphy in the 11 will be starting ninth. And finally, a new name up in the top 10, at least for us here, the 5 of Kyle Manger in 10th for the top 10 there. So, Michael, I know you've gotten a chance to kind of take a glance here and there, but what do you think of this series? And, what do you think as far as what are we looking for here today?
I mean, it's going to be incredible. You're going to see cars that'll probably hang a little bit more towards the rear of the field to think about to start out with, because you don't necessarily want to be right at the front in hard racing, because you never know when a wreck's going to happen. So the best strategy would be to kind of stay at the back till the final 10 or so laps, then you slowly start making your way up to the front.
Yeah, and we've seen kind of that strategy work out, and we've also seen guys who just decided that they're going to be up front and, lead the pack. That has worked out as well here so far in the first few weeks. So it's been, kind of a pick your poison. What do you want to do, right? As far as your preferred style. But Jake McMillan, who's in this field in that 21 truck, guy that we've seen have some success here and there. If I can find him, he's starting 29th today out of 31st, but October is National Spinal Bifida Month, or Awareness Month, excuse me, and thank you, Michael, for that. It is a spinal condition which limits movement and growth. A very close friend of his has this, so for his leagues, he's running a plain yellow truck. So you'll be seeing a plain yellow 21 out there, and that's why. So kind of a neat deal there. Obviously, October as well being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That's a thing that's made raised awareness and a big thing as well. But always good to see people supporting causes that are kind of close to their hearts when it comes to that sort of thing.
Also want to point out too, you talked about him on the pole. Now, Lucas Cram, he gets the bonus points for starting on the pole. So that number 44 machine. You talked about the points right now. Alex Bell with a 2-point lead over Brandon Houff, and only 5 points behind him is Connor Horn in third place right now. So it's, like you said, a very, very tight points battle coming into this. Don't forget, there's bonus points, not only for just leading a lap, but for leading the most laps as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And then, the stage as well that they mentioned, kind of pre-race, we talked about a few times. We've seen that come into play. Guys kind of react to that situation differently, try to get some of those stage points. But you mentioned Connor Horn. He has been impressive in these first couple of weeks, had some big-time runs. And he started way back in 21st. So today, taking the approach of maybe just kind of hanging back a little bit.
Well, Tyler, it's been a while since we've been in the booth together. Another race is coming down, another Wednesday night, 80 laps. Pace truck is in, the green flag is out. We're underway here at Daytona.
The TI Racing 200 is green, as you mentioned, here in the SARG Superspeedway series. And Khalid started up front by everybody it would seem. We had a couple issues last week, I remember, where the outside maybe didn't quite get going as well from Talladega, but here at Daytona, they've got it going on the outside already with Hoff and Spillman just leading that outside line and maybe looking to get in front of Graham, and we'll see if Hoff decides to drop down or not.
Yep, keeping an eye on it too. You want to stay with the lane that helps you. Normally the inside lane is the way to go. These trucks can pretty much hook up if pushed the right way. And you see him now, he's going to go to the inside of the racetrack and open the door for the truck on the outside. I believe that is the 88 of Clint Spillman. He's going to be able to get a good run from the truck behind him. The inside lane is the lane to be in, but having run Daytona races and Talladega races before, the outside lane gets a good run off the corner as they've completed the first lap. And here he comes to the outside.
Yeah, and he's got a great pusher behind him, and Alex Bell in that 15, a guy who's been a big player here over the first few races, has really been kind of a hard charger in the outside along with Connor Horn, who we've seen makes big moves. It looks like Hoff going to get hung out to dry early here, try to go back up, make the block as you saw, and they said not today.
No, actually, I think that's a part of his plan. He's falling to the rear of the field. I believe he got his lap led, and now he is just falling to the back.
Yeah, you're right, getting that bonus point. And you mentioned how tight everything is, and that's something that these guys, yeah, why not, right? Especially in the Superspeedway, so you can get your bonus lap led, as you mentioned, then to say, all right, time for me to just chill a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to go to the back and stay there. Just look at how tight these trucks are together. Ooh. You know, this isn't like Talladega. Last week, they had plenty of racetrack to take it 3 wide plus. And now that with the narrow or more narrow Daytona, it's really hard to make it. You're squeezing 3 wide at best.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a late afternoon setting here, looking about, probably 4:30 or so on the sim. So maybe a little bit of looseness to deal with as well, Michael, in these trucks. I see Luke Parks up there in that blue truck right there on the inside. He's taken up to the lead and then dropped down in front of Robbie Lyons at 97. But, you know, it's definitely a bit of a different setting than what these guys dealt with, not only in Day, like you mentioned, but then the first time around here in Daytona.
Absolutely. And if we look in the back here, we're going to find that number 9 machine. He's leading this little second pack here. He's doing a strategy that me personally, I would like to do, and that's kind of just hang out at the tail end of the lead pack. You don't necessarily want to be far away from it, but you want to be close enough that you can still pounce if you need to, but far enough away that if you see a wreck happening, you have time to slow down.
Yeah, Michael, I think that's a fair point. That's, you know, you said personally you like that. I like doing that myself for the most part, but, you know, it's all about finding your rhythm early in the race and surviving, right? So that's what some of the shuffling is so far. It looks like Nick Olson at 24 and Alex Bell trying to get that third line rolling here early. Some we saw in the first Daytona race where, you know, people were kind of surprised with the traction and the momentum you could gain with just a few trucks in that third line if you do it right. Well, a couple of crazy moves, one by Connor Horner and Bell, where they went from 20-something on back to top 2 within a lap and a half. So things can happen, but it looks like Bell right now not getting help in that third line.
No, not at all. He's falling right to the back. Now his strategy could be something else. He was thinking maybe trying to get up to the front. Now he's thinking of maybe just kind of falling behind here, trying to run what he can. As we're going to have a battle, it looked like for the lead up ahead here. Looking back up at the leader, the outside lane, I believe that is Brett Murphy in the 11 car trying to get the push for the lead.
Robbie Lyons at 97, then Cram behind him, our pole sitter in that 44. And Cram has been a guy that, you know, for the most part, Michael, obviously been racking up some poles, some bonus points there, as you mentioned, but he has had good runs. He just hadn't been able to really capitalize as well as I think he would have liked in some of these weeks, getting involved in trouble. And you can say the same for Robbie Lyons. Lyons has been a guy that's been up here battling, typically running the top 5 and top 10, but disaster seems to find him. So today, looking to maybe take advantage of that early here. And then on the bottom, you mentioned Brett Murphy. A dangerous move there by Graham and Lyon, but they made it work. And these guys, as they get more comfortable with each other, we're going to see some crazy moves. And we've already seen some in the first couple weeks. Yeah,
absolutely. And you see him, he's going to switch. We got Parks is going to move from the inside to the outside after those two dropped down in front of him. He just barely squeezed his nose in there, but he made it. He made it just in time, and that's for sure. As Robbie Lyons is leading right now, heading off into turn 3. We're 7 laps into this race. Now, Tyler, you're usually more efficient at this than I am. What is about the fuel mileage you see these trucks get?
Well, people, you do have to remember these guys are not working with the full tank. They go about 12 gallons in the tank. So typically from what we saw in that first Daytona race, Michael, they were pitting just short of lap 20 or so, which really kind of made things interesting with green flag stops. We saw last week at Daytona in a similar fashion. So there's definitely some strategy involved. That's another part of kind of hanging back a bit is, hey, do I want to be able to stay out on the track, a couple extra laps potentially if need be. And if these guys stay green, which usually at the first part of these races they do a pretty good job of, you could definitely be seeing some early green flag stops here.
Absolutely. You see the car, you see the outside lane now really trying to get to work up there. Can't quite see who that is on the very, very top lane back there, but they're trying to get it to work as the middle lane is a little less organized.
It's the dangerous three, as I would call it there. Nick Olson, Alex Bell, the 15, and Connor Horner, that 67. Mentioned he's starting 21st. He's starting to move up, and Michael, he's been one of the, if not the premier pusher. And then Spillman also moving up, trying to maybe harness that third line run. Olson kind of not happy about that over the radio. Spillman says, "You're right," and gets back down in line there.
Well, it wasn't necessarily his fault. Clint Spillman kind of got forced up there by the car behind him.
Maybe Gavin Jones in the 12 that you're talking about there looked like it. Yeah, I kind of noticed that too, but it was a sudden move, so good job everybody make sure no wrecks happen. Like we have seen some things these first few weeks where all it takes is that one mistake. These guys run so tight and always kind of go so hard. There's really no, laps you kind of take your foot off the gas or take a break mentally.
Yeah, trust me, I've been in enough plate track races to know that the mentality that you have to not run into the person behind you, or in front of you, it's hard because you're starting to get frustrated inside because you want to go, you want to get up there, you want to push them past the car in front of them, and they're just, there's just nowhere to go. Like the entire track is blocked. If you're back there, if one of the last cars, in this pack here, right now the track is blocked. There's nowhere for you to put your car, so you're forced to let off the gas to not run over the car in front of you, and it's just making you more and more frustrated. That's where the term patience comes in, and you see a lot of crew chiefs tell their drivers and preach to them the word patience.
Yeah, especially here you mentioned that they've been 3x3 now for about 4 rows deep outside of the top 2 for going on 2 or 3 laps here. So, anybody behind that, like you're talking about, really has to say, okay, well, I just got to sit here and ride a bit, I mean, what do you do, right? But yeah, that outside line, that third line of Olson, Bell, Horn, and it looks like they may have picked up Steve Rowe in that 69 as well for some help. Spillman and Gavin Jones in the 50 as well there. Derek Newsom looks like there's a bit of action. They saved it. They sorted it out. That was a close call.
Yeah, it was, and that really slowed a lot of drivers down and made it now back to 2-wide racing. The outside lane was really gaining momentum there. We were riding on board with Nick Olson when that happened, and the outside lane was really gaining momentum, and now kind of lost it after that incident.
Yeah, I got to reshuffle a bit here as far as the deck goes of the pack. Now you see Alex Bell in that 15 and Horn have dropped to the middle line, about 2 or 3 cars back there, and you still got Olson and Spillman now, who's jumped back to that top lane. They're trying to maybe get rolling, but up front, Robbie Lyons and Luke Parks just kind of duking out for this lead between Lyons, Parks, and Lucas Graham. They've changed leadership now a few times early on here, just kind of shuffling each other around, but there is that bonus point advantage, as we've talked about, where if you lead the most laps, that's some extra bonus points there as well. So if you're one of those guys, points-wise, it feels like you need to have a good day today, Michael. Are you trying to be aggressive? Oh, the 50 of Newsom and the 25 of Parker almost get together again there. But anyways, are you trying to be up front and be aggressive, get laps led, or are you just hoping you get a good finish?
Honestly, if you're worried about the points, then more than likely you're going to run yourself in the back. You don't want to be too aggressive. Yeah, there's points for leading the most laps, but there's more points in it for finishing better than just leading the most laps. So you definitely want to take care of your truck and avoid all the accidents that I'm sure are going to happen closer to the end of the stage.
We've already had a few near calls. I mean, it has been a little bit of action, especially that mid-pack, Michael. We just saw Mumma and a couple other guys almost getting into it. Now they've resorted themselves And I think we have to watch for these guys getting ready to maybe sort themselves out for pit stops here in a few laps.
Yeah, we're on lap 13 here, and you said if they can make it to just about lap 20, then we're only about 7 laps away from pit stops.
Yeah, you notice the 3x3 has definitely died down a bit right now, and guys trying to get resorted. Cram obviously took back the lead in that 44, and then here comes Lyons again. Talked about Lyons, Cram, and Parks just kind of shuffling each other around for the lead. And now Lyons with a hard charge on that outside line, getting pushed hard there by Parks. And they're going to have some momentum going into the corner, but it looks like this may have to be finished on the exit of the corner for Lyons if he's going to be able to dive back down in front of Cram.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeping an eye on this front pack. You see the storm of brewing once again here. As Robbie Lyons in the 97 goes back up to, or keeps staying in the middle lane. I told you, the middle lane is a good line to be in because it gets the good run off the corners. Look at the 15 on the outside, Alex Bell getting the momentum. He could be side by side with the leaders, making this a 3-wide battle for the lead off of turn 4.
He's got Connor Horn behind him, Michael, and that is the guy you want behind pushing you. I've seen those two work together and make up, the work of 5 trucks together. So sure enough, as you mentioned, here they come with that huge momentum. They got Hoff as well behind them in the 9 there on the 3rd line, and Bell into the corner had the edge, but now they're 3 wide for the lead here on lap 15.
The outside lane isn't going to get much in the corner, but off the corner you should see them start to pull ahead. The 15 car trying to pull ahead here.
And Horn is giving him all he's worth on that back bumper. The trust between those two is impressive, because I don't know if I would trust somebody like that to be pushing me in the corner.
Oh,
typically,
boy.
That's a no-no as far as, when you're pushing somebody, but these two figure out how to do it.
These are some very talented drivers holding themselves 3 wide, multiple rows deep, especially battling for the lead. But all it takes is one mistake, and we're going to see all of these trucks taken out by like I said, all it takes is one mistake, and all these trucks could be sitting on pit road repairing damage.
Yeah, and these guys do get one fast repair, so you kind of get a little bit of leniency, but even then, you don't want to use it this early in the race like you're mentioning. It'll look Parks. Now he's going to jump up to that 3rd line. Is he going to be able to handle the push of not only Bell, but Horn, because they are not going to let up for him. You see him get a little squirrely. Oh, trying to close the door on Lyons, and he gets back down there. What a move there by Luke Parks.
Yep, he breaks the momentum up the outside and gets right back to the middle lane, but it's going to lose a lot of the momentum for the middle lane there, because when a driver moves from a lane to lane, the driver behind him, you can't just run into the back of him. You're going to have to let off to get the run again to push. So it just takes the momentum away when drivers switch lanes like that.
And we're seeing the effect here with the bottom line. Lucas Cram still leading that. We've got Murphy pushing him in the 11. They've been ahead almost a full truck and a half now because of all the shuffling going on in the lanes outside of them to illustrate that point. But once again, we're approaching about lap 18 here, getting ready to hit lap 18 on 17 now. And I got to wonder, Michael, when are we going to see him sort out a little bit? It looks like the guys in the mid-pack on have started the single file out here. We'll see if we get pit stops soon. I haven't heard anything on the radio yet as far as people pitting, but I would say within the next couple laps, you're going to see pit road get very, very busy.
Seems like the very top lane has about fizzled out, but thanks to the side draft that these trucks have at this racetrack, they're able to really still stay side by side with the rest of them. And like you said, we're on lap 18. That's about 2 laps away from when these trucks have to make pit stops like you said they did last Daytona race. So unless there's something these guys don't know, there's going to be some hard racing here. We're only about 12 laps away from, or no, it's 22. Sorry, 22 laps away from the stage break.
Yeah, had that stage break about lap 40, so it kind of splits things up properly. I think that's why you're going to see these guys try to make sure they at least get to lap 20, and that way you don't have to worry about fuel as much. And they are upcoming here on a couple potential lap trucks, and it looks like this truck's going to duck down, and at least one of them in the 42 there. That would be Chris Sawyer, and it looks like they still got Steve Rada in the 8 to maybe deal with here up in front of them. So that will be always interesting, especially with him being a single truck. They're going to have to figure out this 3 wide quick.
Yeah, they are. It'd be best for him to just move, or I would say move to the outside lane, but looks like they're going to go around him on the outside, and now Rada is going to go down below the yellow line and let these trucks pass.
Yeah, and that's a smart move. Typically, like you said, it's usually better for that lap car to maybe stick to the outside so it's not so hard to maneuver around them. But where they were coming to him, catching him on the backstretch, he simply was able to move down and give him that space. So definitely worked out. But now because that we're 2x2 here again, and you got Parks and Lyons on the outside, you got Cram and Murphy on the inside. Murphy, we've seen him just be up here riding a bit, but he's really kind of chosen to be a pusher right now. Do you think he's just kind of lying in wait till after they get these pit stops out of the way before he really wants to be up front and lead?
It's very possible. Is they're coming up on look like another lap truck now. Oh, he's coming up the road.
That'd be Sawyer who went in right there before they caught Roddick and Sawyer. So.
Yep, and you see the outside lane fizzling out here. These guys must be indicating they need to come to pit road here soon. 97 really cut off. I believe that was the 12 of Gavin Jones. Gavin Jones is going to let the 3-car in line now. We're going to have to see if these cars are coming to pit road this time.
Yeah, I'm hearing the chatter. We're going to see a big group come down here, and here they come. Can they sort it out properly? You got to have no issues. Got to have a perfect pit stop. Look at them spread out. Make sure, and this is where it gets tight coming in. Had some issues last week. Brake checks, and it looks like, for the most part, the group has sorted itself out pretty well there.
Yes, it has. Keeping an eye on them as they're coming down. Pit road going to look over to the 12 machine of Gavin Jones, who has the second group here that have stayed out. I'm sure we'll see them coming down pit road this time.
Yeah, I got the 41 of Lucas Strayer and the 15 of Bell still up in the top side, though, here. So we'll see if there's maybe 3 groups. That'd be kind of dangerous. You don't want to be the odd people out, so to speak, in terms of draft help. And Strayer, he's going to get up there and now take over the lead for now. And it looks like Bell's backing off. He might be able to come in as well. And sure enough, here's that second group. And they spread out wide.
The 9 machine. Carry as much speed in as you can. Make a spot.
The 88
slide sideways.
Yeah, Clint Spillman getting sideways. Maybe got hit there by the 8 of Rada, the lap truck. And they sort it out, keep going. Doesn't look like there's a lot of damage on that 88. So sorts itself out, but that's going to cost you some time for sure.
Looking up here at the second pack here, it looks like perhaps it was Lucas Graham that came out of pit road first. He's got Christopher Tate on his back bumper pushing him.
Christopher Tate in that 4 truck, another guy we've seen have some success as far as being able to put himself in contention, just hasn't quite had the finishes he's wanted. Just because craziness into the race happens sometimes, but these groups are pretty spread out, surprisingly, here. We'll see how they kind of get grouped up and go from there, but I think with that cycle of pit stops, Michael, it should be good as far as fuel for everybody now. They kind of took that extra lap we were talking about to make sure they reached the stage, and it looks like that is the 9 of Hoff that's come out in front of that second group, but he's about to get trained around right here by Cram and Tate. And it looks like maybe Tate's going to be Cram's going to take that lead. He's going to have Tate, Parks, and Connor Horn behind him, and here comes Parks and Connor Horn now on the outside line.
Got a bit of 2-truck tangoing here. This is going to be for the lead, these top 4 cars, until these cars get grouped back up again, which is very possible. We have a bit of 2-truck tandems.
Oh, and then Parks throws a tough block. I'd say block. He got down into the bottom lane there on Cram and just about had them spun out together. That was tight there by Parks, but he'll take the lead off that move. And here comes that second pack. As you mentioned, they're getting ready to get sorted back up here. It's going to be Hoff, Strayer, looks like the 5 of Kyle Manger there, and then the 24 Nick Olson also in that pack. So then not too far behind them, Gavin Jones. And the 56, Blake Trawick, that's a new name for us here, I believe, in the series. So good to see everybody get up here now, get grouped back up. It's a little bit of contact there. Olsen and the 12 of Gavin Jones, a little bit of contact. No wreck, though, but there's some crinkled fenders now.
Absolutely. You see the pack is kind of brought back up here. We're looking at this looks to be at least maybe 14 cars in this pack. So that's 4 cars that are going to be out of this top 10 battle for stage points when this comes about in about 17 laps.
Yeah, and these guys, after these pit stops now, they're good to go. They're going to start just throwing haymakers here. I mean, that's what we've seen. They care about that stage and trying to make sure you get a good stage finish. That's normal NASCAR points where you get your top 10 in a stage, get those points. So that's huge right there. In terms of, if you don't have the best day as far as an overall finish, Michael, you can definitely supplement that by having at least a good first stage.
Absolutely. The cars behind them, such as Jeremy Jones and Robbie Lyons, that got caught up in some of the stuff on pit road, they're 5 seconds behind here in the second pack, and they're just hoping to either get a caution before the stage ends or just needing it to get to the end of the stage so they can catch back up, because with being 5 seconds back, there's no way they're going to catch these leaders in time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's you got to get connected up, like you mentioned, and really focus on just maximizing your time. The leaders there just past Jordan Clark, the 71. Looks like he's maybe had just come off pit road. I did see him. I think he had went through pit road and had to come back in. So that's a tough break for him. Puts him lap down, but he is currently the first truck lap down, at least in that sense. So has a chance of getting a lucky dog. That's the neat thing about this Super Speedway series, folks, is that you could definitely go, a lap or two down. Not that you want to, but there's chances usually kind of work your way back into a race.
Looking back here at the second pack led by Jeremy Jones, they are running single file, nose to tail for these trucks, but I do not think it's still going to be enough for them to run down these front 14, as there's only 4 or 5 cars in this pack.
Yeah, and they're losing time like crazy. They were about 5 seconds now. It's over 6.5. So, like you mentioned, you got to have some more trucks in the line to be able to really get some big pushes, and that's unfortunate for them. But you just miss out on some stage points, and who knows? I mean, these guys could wreck that front pack in the last couple laps of the stage, so anything could happen in that sense. And they're trying to get a little dicey up here. I see Nick Olson back there. He's kind of been peeking here and there, maybe trying to get that third line rolling. He's got Alex Bell behind him, and as I mentioned, I have seen Bell and Horn in combination be able to just by themselves make that third line work. So if you add a truck or two to that, this small of a pack, Michael, you can get yourself up, and they're coming up on a lap truck there, and they will work around him. As 84, Jacob Locklear, who is now they're working past, who is already a lap down. He will go 2 laps down in that 84.
Keeping an eye on him. He's going to kind of fall to the back here. There's another truck coming to pit road there. Approaching about 13 laps to go until the stage break.
13 laps to go here in this stage, as you mentioned, in the SARG Superspeedway series. It's the TI Racing 200 here today at Daytona. A little bit of a different time, obviously, as we mentioned from the first Daytona race after the Talladega race last week. This one a little bit more late evening, and the conditions, I think, Michael, you could add to this as far as the driver goes, but people kind of underestimate time of day conditions on these super speedways. It could kind of definitely make you tighter or looser. Not that it's, wrecking loose or anything like that, but it can affect you when you're trying to push and be in the draft.
Oh, yeah, with a hot racetrack, with the sun beating down on a hot racetrack, it's going to make it real slick for a lot of these drivers. But when the sun starts setting and the track cools off, there's going to be a lot more grip, and we should see these drivers possibly start being able to make more aggressive moves with their truck sticking to the surface because of the racetrack temperature.
You're definitely on the way to that, as you mentioned. It's sitting at 87 right now, which is the hottest temp, but with kind of the time of day, it definitely can be tricky. And as we get later into the evening, it gets, a few degrees of drop. As you mentioned, that's definitely going to affect things quite a bit, what these guys can and can't do with those trucks. And I do update that Dylan Parker, the 25, who was kind of run up near that front pack or whatnot. He is unfortunately had some internet issues. He is out of the race currently, and I think he'll be the first truck officially out of this one. As you got Steve Rada back there in the 8. He's still on track, but he is 3 laps down. So unfortunate there for Parker. We'll see if he maybe gets back in before he gets down too many laps. But either way, that's always frustrating to have those issues. But up front, Lucas Cram of the 44, him and Connor Horn have found their way back up there now and have taken control of that group. And Horn, Michael, this is a guy that, like I mentioned, had been pushing like crazy and has been probably the best pusher so far in the first few weeks. But when he's ready to get up there and take the lead, he certainly knows how to do it.
Absolutely. As you see, Luke just cramming down in front of the 44.
I see what you put there. Yeah.
Wow, I was unaware of my own joke.
Oh, Michael.
Connor Horn saw the run coming from the outside lane and he moved up to get the run that allowed and the 44 had nobody behind him, so the 44 backed up to the first car behind him and allowed Luke and Connor to get the top 2 spots and pull down in front.
And now they are in control. 4 trucks out in front here at 67, the 3 of Luke Parks, the 44 of Cram, and the 50 there. Oh, and we got a caution out here at lap 31.
Our first caution of the day. I cannot see who it is.
Looking through the pack here, I'm not seeing a lot of smoke. Hearing some talk from Clint Spillman. And here they might have wrecked for last. So Kobe Wells in the 45. He's back there. Let's see. Maybe he is part of it. Quite seeing.
Let's see if he is. Oh, I see it.
Yep. The 2 looks like he got hooked and just turned. That'd be the 2 of Kyle Dagger right there.
I'm gonna keep an eye on it right here. So take a look at it. Leading the pack here. I guess he just got a bad bump from the 69 and turned him hard into the wall. Clint Spillman, I think, did actually get a piece of that. And that could be a quick repair for some of these drivers who are involved, especially for that number 2 machine.
Yeah, Kyle's definitely going to have to. He's going to have to burn that fast repair to make sure he's at least on pace and not going laps down. But yeah, Stephen Perot there in 69. You mentioned it. Kind of a bad bump. It was through the tri-oval, and that's always a tricky area to. If you are going to give somebody a push, you've got to be precise and pretty much perfect with it.
Well,
unfortunately, it just didn't work.
Looking at it actually again. It looked like the 2 was on the apron. It's so good having 2 tires on the apron and the racetrack turned his car just that little bit sideways.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, looking back at it there, and that's the apron is not your friend on these super speedways. Not going at this type of speed, especially being in a pack or being the head of pack like there as you just saw. And I wonder how many people are going to pit here in the top 10. It looks like, pretty much nobody, as far as I can tell. In the top 10 right there decided to come to pit road. Cram kind of faked it, but for the most part, everybody's staying out and going to run it to the end of the stage here, which, I mean, knowing that the fuel was good to go at that point, can't blame them.
The first caution of the night is out here at Daytona. We're going to step aside, take a quick commercial break, and bring you the final few laps to the end of this stage. And we'll be right back.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the Veterans of Foreign Wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the Veterans of Foreign Wars and fights for the veterans community.
The Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in depth. Enter Iracing Iflag. Iflag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Bostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe even in the rear or side view mirrors. You may not notice or even hear when the caution comes out, when your car is damaged, or if you get black flag, or even notice the car beside you. Yes, Iflag will point out the signs and tell you where that car is. It just makes iRacing more real and can help you become a better driver. We also offer iRacing Iflag Digital Pit Box. This small box is a great addition to any sim rig. With only 3.5 inches wide, it gives you all the information you need, including how many laps completed, how much fuel you will need to finish, what lap you need to pit on, laps so your fuel is empty, as well as weather and track conditions. It also switches when you come down pit road for more information, including what lap you're pitting under, tire wear, laps on tires, fuel average, and much, much more. To see more info, check us out today.
And we're back here in the SARG Superspeedway Series. It is the TI 200 here at Daytona today. And under caution, getting ready to come back from that here on lap 34. Going into lap 35, had a wreck there with Kyle Dagger in the back. Of course, in the booth right now, it's Michael Norman and myself, Tyler Riggs. And Michael, going to be a shootout here to end this stage. These guys are about to get after and elbows up, I would imagine.
Yeah, 6 laps to decide the first stage. And, excuse me, with all this caution, with this caution flag, it's actually going to bring everybody back up, and everyone's going to have a shot at this top 10. As the green flag is back out, 6 laps to settle the first stage.
Connor Horn, that 67, chose the inside line, and with good reason. He gets a huge push from Lucas Cram, that 44. They get a good kind of burst out there on the bottom line, but now that bottom line's got reconnected. It looks like, Michael, maybe the top line's a bit more connected here. Let's see if they get a huge run off the corner or not.
Yeah, they will. Watch the outside lane. This is going to fly side by side with these drivers, and they just got to get pushing. See them lock to the back bumpers.
Yeah, Luke Parks in that 3, and Derek Newsom in the 50, a guy we haven't said the name of too much yet in the first few weeks. He's had some bad breaks as well, but they're hooked up on that outside, like you mentioned. Behind them, Lucas Strayer, 41, and then Nick Olson, that 24 on the bottom. You got Cram, the 20 of Brady Floyd, third truck in line there in that tied truck. So far head-to-head, but it looks like the outside might have a bit more help here as they are photo finish at the line there.
The third lane is trying to get going. I think that is the 48 machine.
Quinn Gingrich, yeah, in that 48.
Yep, trying to get a third line going. We could see this get to be 3 wide. Up, maybe not. Lost a little bit of momentum there, but when these drivers run out of places to go, patience is going to wear thin, and that's when we're going to see all these moves.
Well, typically, Michael, the guy that's really pushed that outside line, that third line, is usually Alex Bell and or Connor Horn, with Horn being up front now. Bell does not really have the guy to do that with, so you see Bell back there about, the 5th truck on the inside in the 15. He's just kind of playing it patient right now. It's kind of interesting to see the different tempo they choose when they know they're not around a guy they kind of trust to get that line going.
And that's all you can do. Being on the inside lane, you've got nowhere to really take your truck unless you get an opening on the outside lane. So you're just stuck running about a 3/4 of throttle, just trying to not run over the person in front of you, but stay in the draft as well. The inside lane looks like it's just died, and here comes the outside lane now, more organized.
Yep, still led by Luke Parks in that 3, but you mentioned it. The middle part of that inside lane decided, all right, time to move up. We're going to get this outside really cranking as we're getting ready to come to 3 laps to go in the stage here, and it's going to get real dicey with these guys. You see Alex Bell now has worked his way to the top line, that 15, but Michael, he's got no help yet, but there's a couple guys, Olson, Gingrich in that 48, and there's Christopher Tate behind Bell in that 4. They're all kind of peeking out there. I wonder when they're going to go ahead and just, we got contact
there we go.
Back, and we got a wreck. No caution yet. Not
no
quite. That might have been
still.
Jeremy Jones in the 81. No caution yet still. Jones has come to stop on the inside.
Jeremy Jones and Brett Murphy both have wrecked below the racing surface. That should not bring out a caution. We're going to go back up to the main pack here. That's greatly split
there
up.
it is.
There's the caution flag.
Admin caution thrown there looked like by Lucas Graham after some discussion about that incident, which, you got to be careful and make sure no drivers really get too messed up by that. And it looks like that's going to be the stage. This caution will take us through the stage officially. And Michael, we'll have to go back and look at that with Jeremy Jones there in that 81. It looked like you maybe got a little bit of wheel hop somehow on somebody, and that's what started that.
Gonna go back and take a look at it now here. I feel like it was just some real close racing. Let's see what we can see here. Oh yeah, definitely. You can almost see it from if I can find a good angle of it. You can almost see it. He just gets too close trying to side draft.
Oh yeah.
He gets too close trying to side draft and he just hops it up, and that just brings them both down to the inside. A couple of cars almost get involved in that. One car going all the way to the inside there.
Yeah, it looked like the 33 of Jonathan Cuevas on the inside is who the 81 of Jeremy Jones hopped off of. And you mentioned Brett Murphy, just kind of an innocent bystander in that. Unfortunately, nowhere to go. And that could have been a lot more trucks right there, but somehow it wasn't. And I think a lot of those mid to late pack guys are very thankful for that.
Gonna ride on board. Oh no, actually, that might not necessarily have been his fault. The truck on the inside, I'm not sure what number that was. It might have been the 22.
It'd be a 33 of Cuevas.
Oh, 33, you're right. Okay, my bad. It looks like he might have just kind of come up the racetrack just a little bit. And yeah, it ended up turning them both around. It was almost like an IndyCar style tire hop.
Yeah, that's kind of awkward to see sometimes, but I mean, you gotta be careful with that. These guys kind of know that, but officially, as we mentioned, the stage is secured right there with that caution. So that means Connor Horn going to be taking the big stage win, Michael. And this is a guy who's really been rolling and, has picked the right spots, I'd say, just knowing, when to be up front, when to kind of hang in the back. And today, he might be setting his sights on a, potential win here.
All right, you want to talk to our stage winner?
Yeah, if he's available, that'd be great to be able to drag him in here.
Go ahead and do that. We'll talk to him here.
All right. Let's see if we can find him. I'm trying to find him, folks. I apologize in advance here. Maybe not quite available as we thought. Connor Horn. Yep.
Oh, no, yeah, you're right. He's not necessarily here. I figured.
Yeah, thought we had Connor Horn there. It seems like everybody else is, but Connor Horn not quite available as we thought. But that's all right. We've talked to him a few times. He's probably going to be very happy to win that stage. And now, I guess, Michael, if you're the person that won that stage, or if you're, in Connor Horn's mind here, do you think it's time to kind of drop back a bit until about 20 to go, or how would you decide to try to play that?
I mean, it's still a long race. 20 laps is still a long way. And honestly, my strategy would probably be to fall to the back until the final 10 laps. But honestly, it's really hard to tell. These drivers have been racing real clean, so haven't really seen a big wreck as of late. So it's just going to be real tough. Really tough to tell, as you see some cars still coming down pit road, including our stage winner.
Yeah, they're doing that. They're pitting there to make sure they got as much fuel as they can, because we will be seeing another round of pit stops, most likely, unless we just have a ton of cautions in the second stage. But, that's kind of that factor of now you have to play it again like you did the first stage, where you want to make sure you're good to go for the stage.
Speaking of stage, here's our stage winner right now. Connor, it's Michael and Tyler up here in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, 10-4.
All right, well, real quick before you go back racing, tell us about that stage win, man. You had it up front and were a heck of a pusher. So tell us about how that stage went.
Yeah, pretty crazy stage. I started at the back as I qualified, so I had to find some sort of way to get to the front. It was either going to be on track or during pit stops. I tried my hardest to push Bell to the front like we did in the season opener, but we just couldn't get clear, so we had to get back in line. And I definitely got a good deal on the pit stops. I got to the very front of the lead pack, and I was able to be pushing Cram in there, and then we got a good caution came out at a good time too. I was able to get the lead and all that, so I was able to hold on. I don't know if I would have gotten it or Luke would have gotten it if we went green all the way, but it was definitely going to be me and him to the end of that stage. Unfortunate that the caution came out, but definitely fortunate for me because I got the most points, and I've been locking the bonus points in the first few races, so it's definitely a good one.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on the stage win and those stage points, man. Just see if you can bring it on home for us and make it exciting.
I'll try to. Thank you.
That was the stage. Excellent run of the stage, and obviously, as you mentioned, trying to repeat that, but we're getting ready to go back green here. Coming to lap 42, it's going to be Christopher Tate in the Ford truck. Your leader, green flag, is out, and he will take that inside line, and it looks like the rest of the pack, Michael, was still trying to catch up a bit, or was maybe forced single file by how things were. So kind of a slim pack to start this one.
That's what I was thinking. That was a little odd of a restart, but if they're here, and they're going for it.
See 44 of pole sitter Lucas Graham up there at second now, pushing Tate. The 50 of Derek Newsom, who's stuck up there pretty strongly most of the race. And then you see the 69 of Stephen Perot sitting in fourth, doing a good job there. And it looks like the 21 of McMillan called that he's going to go ahead and drop here to the back. So that's kind of on par for McMillan. He's been one of those guys, Michael, that has taken definitely the cautious approach and, really didn't want to stick himself up there too early. And now it looks like the pack's starting to get kind of formed back up here as you got on the outside. Lucas Cram jumped up there. He's going to be picked up by Robbie Lyons. And then they've got the 30 truck kind of trailing them a little bit back there. That's Michael Swink in that 30 truck.
I just want to say a real quick reminder for the viewers just joining us here that the number 21 of Jacob McMillan is running this plain yellow vehicle in honor of National Spinal Bifida Awareness Month. Spinal bifida is a spinal condition which limits movement and growth of the body. A very close friend of his has this, so he is running this league in tribute to him. And so far, hopefully he can bring it home, and what a way it would be if he were to somehow end up in victory lane tonight.
Yeah, always great to see people raise awareness for those causes. Another big one, of course, as you see by the pink FRN, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month as well. Always a big one for a lot of people out there, and just a good month to kind of be thankful for your loved ones and make sure you're supporting and raising awareness for those that need that support. As we are still up here with this front pack on lap 44, Christopher Tate still holding that bottom line very strong in that Ford truck. And now he's deciding to drop back, it looks like. That was a quick call. Heard that one over the radio. And Michael, as we saw earlier, you get your laps led, and you decide, all right, time to get out of the chaos a bit.
Yep. Get your lap led. That's a bonus point. He's just riding now, going to fall to the back here. I think he may have fallen a little too far back because he's going to be slow and maybe lose this front pack here. So that could be all the plan, but I'm not too sure as we see Lucas Cram back up into the lead.
Great. Excuse me.
Cram's still leading the inside lane right now. You got the 97 who lost the main pack before the caution flag to regroup everybody. Now here he is fighting on the outside lane, trying to get up to the lead.
Yeah, sorry about that. Someone just randomly caught me there. But anyways, yeah, you mentioned Cram doing a good job holding the bottom. Then Lyons has worked his way back up. They're working around the lap car there. Very cleanly, the lap car decided to drop down and just kind of let him go. And how about Derek Newsom, though, on that 50, Michael? We've seen him be up here in the top 5 just pushing Melee, not really necessarily taking control being the leader, but it looks like maybe he's going to peak a bit here and pick up that outside line, but they're shuffling a bit behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. The shove on the outside lane, whenever you get tired, you just want to pull out. There's also something else that we really forgot to mention. Oh, he gets turned into the wall. That's a big wreck.
And the big one strikes here early in stage 2, and trucks played everywhere, and that is exactly why, for some of these guys, you just kind of hide out of the back and let chaos happen in front of you.
Absolutely. And it looked like he just tried to get the run going, and then he just got turned at the worst part of the racetrack, and that was a huge accident.
Yeah, that was the 16 of Ben McDonald, who had kind of been hanging around the top 10, and at certain points in this one, just as you mentioned, tried to give him, that shove into the corner, and a little bit of a awkward spot. It got Newsom and caused that big wreck right there. Maybe the 69 too. The road kind of got up into McDowell. That was very tight space they were working with.
Up and over that 50 car went a few times. Thank God that most of these drivers have their fast repair on them, because they're definitely going to need it now. Now this also, go ahead. No,
I was just going to say, it looks like McMillan of the 21 is pushing Newsom back to pit road. Newsom's got a blown engine, so he's definitely going to have to use that fast repair. So good sportsmanship there, so to speak, from McMillan.
Looking at this wreck one more time from up above the grandstands here. You see the 16 car get right on his bumper, but he's in the left quarter panel, turns him down and up, and he just flew over a car. And this is going to be a very interesting yellow, to say the least, because they're not anywhere near the fuel window to make it the rest of this way.
Yeah, it definitely creates an awkward spot, Michael. I mean, I don't know how you call this if you're a crew chief at this point. You really, kind of danged if you do, danged if you don't. You don't want to have to pit, immediately after the caution, so to speak. But at the same time, if you pit now, you know you're not stretching at, nearly 30 plus laps.
Absolutely. It looks like the 44 is going to stay out, and here comes the rest of the cars down pit lane, being led by, I couldn't quite tell who that was. I believe that's the 69 machine of Steven Perrott.
Yep, he is up there and leading that pack. You mentioned Robbie Lyons, Alex Bell, and probably the rest of these guys, I imagine, are coming in damaged trucks. So definitely seeing some banged up fenders there from a couple big contenders, a couple clean trucks, but for the most part, mainly, a few guys in the top 10, some damaged trucks. But Lucas Cram staying out, Nick Olson as well staying out there in the 24, and it looks like lucky dog wise, I believe, going to go to Jeremy Jones in that 81. So big break for him. I don't believe he was the first strike on the he was the first strike lap down, but I think McMillan got up just enough of that wreck to be able to not get the lucky dog there. So
a very tough break for the 21 machine. We're going to take another quick commercial break, get things sorted out, and get back to racing here with about just under 40 laps to go in the race. We'll be right back.
Since the VFW was founded, their mission was really to look out for the veterans community, to make sure that our nation upholds its promise to really care for the service member, the veteran, and his or her family. There are several ways that the VFW fights for veterans today. The top services include disability claims assistance, advocacy on Capitol Hill and with the Department of Veterans Affairs. We also offer scholarship opportunities, and then also volunteerism. For me personally, when I came back from Iraq, my life experience was drastically different from those around me, and the veterans of foreign wars really spoke to me. The reason I would encourage veterans who have served overseas today to join the VFW is because this is your organization. The VFW is for veterans. Every generation, a new generation of leaders steps up in the veterans of foreign wars and fights for the veterans community.
Veterans of Foreign Wars. No one does more for veterans. For more information on the VFW, go to ahctv.com/sacrifice.
Most everyone involved in sim racing always wants that edge or even make the experience a little bit better, or in this case, a little bit more in-depth. Enter Iracing Iflag. Iflag is a simulation signal box with software designed by Peter Vostro. When you are behind the wheel in iRacing, your eyes are looking down the track or maybe even in the rear or side view mirrors. You may not notice or even hear when the caution comes out, when your car is damaged, or if you get black flagged, or even notice the car beside you. Yes, Iflag will point out the sides and tell you where that car is. It just makes iRacing more real and can help you become a better driver. We also offer iRacing Iflag Digital Pit Box. This small box.
And we're back here at the SARG Superspeedway Series. It is the TI Racing 200 here at Daytona. And Michael, we're coming off this caution that was just kind of wild there at about lap 47, getting ready to take this restart to hit lap 50. Just over 30 laps to go. It's going to be Lucas Cram leading back. Guy who elected not to pit in that 44 along with the Nick Olson 24 truck on the outside. So interesting strategies here where a couple guys now are definitely split on what they have to do.
Absolutely. I saw a lot more single file more towards the back. Not sure how that runs here. Probably lap down cars if I'm not mistaken. But as you see the action here, you figured it would calm down a little bit, but no, we're right back into the action. 2 wide, almost 3. And here we goes, another car. I believe that is the 15. I can't see that on the side there. He's pulling out of the action, going to let things go. As we noted about earlier, we saw the wreck happen up front. One mistake can take out a lot of trucks, and it happened earlier, and now the cars are starting to get more aware of it.
Yeah, for sure. And Alex Bell surprised me there, Michael, by kind of dropping back a bit or deciding to drop back. Usually he's one more of the aggressive guys, but sometimes all it takes is to be spooked once, so to speak, as you mentioned, to kind of just decide to back out of it a bit there. But folks, while we got a chance, we want to point this out. As you might notice up there in that top left-hand corner, FRN, of course, as we mentioned, that we've gone pink for October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Our logo is going to be pink on all of our broadcasts for the month of October. And, of course, if you would like to donate to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, please use that link in the description and help that cause out. It's a great cause. We mentioned, that and a couple other causes here tonight. It's just, a tough time right now in the world. Everybody kind of needs a little help, right, Michael?
Absolutely. It's for a great cause, the breast cancer awareness. It's a great cause to donate now. I've donated, and it's really good. It'll help out a lot more than you think it will. Believe me.
That's right. One small drop in the bucket does a lot more than what people think sometimes.
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. Generosity goes a long way. As you see, I'll beat you to it. Back to the action. You see, they're trying to go. The four-car is trying to make the outside lane work. He's trying to get somebody up there with Christopher Tate there, but I don't know. It's still, to me, it still seems early, but they're really trying to get up to the front.
Yeah, Tate has been up here for the most part of this race. Oh, him and Pro, that 6'9", a little bit of contact there, but they sorted out, and that's that 9 of Hoff in that grit truck back there trying to get Tate some help, but he's deciding, looks like, to maybe kind of stick to that outside line and, maybe not necessarily trusting Tate fully to get that outside third line working. And Michael, that's a tough line to stick if you're not used to running it. We only see a few select guys, the Connor Horns, the Bells of the world, maybe the Olsons here and there, that really kind of commit to it and make it work. But this race, it hasn't been as much of a factor as we've seen it be in past instances, although we actually, have had plenty of 3Y. It's just, as far as the momentum you get, it seems like it's just maybe not there today.
Yeah. It'll get there eventually. With enough cars, the momentum will be there. Inside lane gets the good run through the corner, but off the corner is the outside lane. You'll see it here with the 24 machine. He'll get the run if he can get pushed right up to the lead, and we'll see as he go through the tri-oval, it'll be the 24 machine that leads this lap. 28 laps to go. Nope, there it goes. 27.
Nick Olson getting that big shove from Lucas Strayer. Strayer in that 41 truck, a guy that, once again, similar to a lot of these other guys, has had his moments up front in the first few rounds, but just hasn't taken advantage of it due to some late race incidents, and now he's getting a crack at it here by pushing Olson. Will Olson be able to drop down? Not quite, as that inside line starting to come back as they get into the corner there, led by Lucas Cram and Robbie Lyons.
And Christopher Tate is not giving up on that extreme outside lane there, but now he's going to drop back. So we know that Christopher Tate is one of the drivers that will do anything it takes to try to get to the front, even early here. With 26 laps to go as the cross-start finish line, when do you think that these drivers are going to come down pit road for that stop? Because we already know from that last caution they cannot make it their whole way on fuel.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of up to them. For Cram and Lyons, who stayed out in that 44 and 97, Michael, they're going to be pitting here within 10 laps. I mean, the caution may give them a little bit of leeway to add a lap or two past that 60, but they're going to have to be looking to pit. And then at that point, there really wasn't many trucks that stayed out with them. There were a few, but not a huge group. So you're kind of hoping, I believe, for these guys that maybe catch another caution break. If not, you're just going to have to pit, be efficient, and make sure that you're getting all you can as soon as you get out of the pits.
Couldn't see exactly who that was, but somebody just about squeezed the 4 Tate into the wall there. It looks like maybe it might have been the number 9 machine.
Yeah, Hoff there in that 9, as you mentioned, was kind of a bit squirrely, but they've sorted it out there. And a guy I want to point out up in this top 10 or battle for his top 10 right now, how about Jordan Clark in that 71 truck? Was a lap down earlier. We mentioned how, hey, in this Superspeedway series, you could get yourself trapped a lap down but still have a chance to make it up. He has done that, and so far he's making good on getting back on the lead lap and being a contender.
Yeah, that Tijuana Flats number 71 machine just biting his time, got the lucky dog when he needed it, and here he is now battling inside the top 10. So coming up on a lapped machine. It's, you can fit, it doesn't matter where you start, it doesn't matter where you run. If your car is fixed and up to speed, you have a shot at winning this race. And Jordan is proving that right now, as he's going to drop a spot because of the outside lane, but he's just trying to hold his own on that inside lane.
Yeah, and they're just doing, some tough 2x2 action here. I have a feeling that Cram and Lyons kind of want to stay connected, although Lyons jumps to that top side, maybe saying, hey, I want to lead until we get to the pits here. I mean, we talk about the battle for the most laps led with these guys, trying to get a couple extra bonus points. That can prove dividends come, into the point standings where finishes are going to be tight. I mean, these guys know that every point matters. But how about Lyons? He is definitely
Oh my lord! Sorry,
Graham. Yeah.
Lucas just
Yeah.
shoved it to the outside lane there, and I don't even know if he was clear or not. But I'm sure the 24 probably is not happy about that.
Some of these guys are more trusting with certain guys. Like, I mentioned Bell and Horn have a pretty good partnership, it seems like. Oh boy, and we got 3 wide. Michael, as they're coming up on a lap truck there, and they're going to avoid it. That would be the 33 of Cuevas, who had dropped down there. And boy, that could have been real hairy, but these guys showing off the skill, and despite being 3 wide there for a bit, making sure they didn't wreck with that lap truck.
Absolutely. I'm surprised the 44 car wants the lead because you use more fuel when you're leading a race as opposed to getting pushed by somebody. So, honestly surprised that he's wanting to have the lead here. We should see him on pit road within, I want to say, the next 5 laps.
Yeah, it should be within that window, no doubt about it. No more than 5 laps. A little bit of a strong pump there from Nick Olson, sits him sideways a bit. Some I'm noticing on that 24 truck, Michael. He did look like a piece of that fender damage from that incident there. He was kind of in that spot where he may have got a bit of collateral, although it seems like that spoiler is not really affecting him because it's not really pushed up or pushed in too bad. It's just a bit of a crinkle.
Yeah, and I've seen it here before. He probably was just on pit road letting his crew repair the damage as opposed to getting the fast repair, because you never know what's going to happen. So it's probably a smart idea on him to save that fast repair for later on in this race if he needs to use it.
Yeah, another guy I'm noticing up here with a bit of damage that hasn't quite taken his fast repairs. That 12 of Gavin Jones, who's on the inside second truck. He's got a little bit of front fender damage and a little bit of rear fender damage, but he's still up here pushing strong on lines at 97. But it seems like Cram and that outside line have a bit better momentum for the most part. As you see the inside line not really getting a big of a pull on them in those corners. That's typically where the inside line really kind of gets ahead, but that hasn't been the case. And will Cram bring it back down here? He's not quite clear enough as they get ready to go back off into it.
If there's anything that C-Fixed Racing has taught me on plate check, it's that if your engine's not damaged and you have just a slight bit of damage repair optional on pit road, your truck will still be up to speed and able to battle for the lead. But look at this, they're going to leave that 44 in the middle.
Oh, into the sucker hole goes Lucas Cram now, and that's not where you want to be, especially when we're on lap 61 here. He's going to maybe have to pit within the next lap or two.
Absolutely, he's going to be stuck there, going to try to get to the inside, but here comes a lap truck. These leaders are approaching another lap truck who should be able to get down off the racing surface. Down
the 67 of Connor Horn, who this is kind of surprising with Horn. I think he maybe had to pit there. He was one of those guys that had pitted twice, so I don't know what his deal was, but he's now all of a sudden a lap down. That's one of our race winners being a lap down.
Probably just took his pit stop now and nobody else decided to come with him. So he could cycle around maybe with this pack. It's a possibility. It looks like the 44 machine was able to get to the inside. Should see him on pit road either this lap or the next, depending on how much fuel he saved under the caution.
Yeah, this is going to get real dicey, folks, as Michael's mentioning, trying to figure out who's still got to pit here and who doesn't. We know for sure the Lions and Cram have to pit within these next at least lap or two at this point. Everybody else could maybe stretch it out a bit to 70, but it's about to get real crazy. Hearing a couple guys in the back, Locklear and some of those guys going to come, it sounds like, with Lions. And,
oh, there's an accident in the back. Holy moly.
And that's going to bring out the caution, and what a timely caution for Lucas Cram and Robbie Lyons. Are you kidding me?
I saw a car flipped over. Actually, I saw him flipping over on the back straightaway. That almost looked like a Darrell Waltrip accident. The caution flag is out. The question that kind of remains is, does he have enough fuel to coast around until the pits open?
Right, yeah, that's going to be kind of one of those things. It looks like there's almost two incidents at once there, Michael. You see the 30 of Michael Swink and the 48 of Quinn Gingrich got together. That truck that was flipping was Swink. they were trying to check up for the wreck ahead of them, and I believe that was no Lucas Strayer. Yeah, it was Lucas Strayer and Perot and that 69 got together going into turn 3. I'm not quite sure what happened with Perot. He looks like maybe just came down a little bit, or him and Strayer just found a way to hook up. But what a break here for Connor Horn, for Lucas Cram, for Robbie Lyons.
Oh, that looked like the 48 machine came up while the 30 was trying to go down.
Yeah, they were trying to check up ahead of him because that's when Strayer and Bro got together in front of him right there about 7th or 8th. And they were trying to check up, and they just collided trying to find the space to make sure they avoid it.
Looking at it one more time, this number 30 machine. Yep, as you see him go down, the 48 goes up just a little bit, and the 2 incidents happen in front of them. Actually, they happened at the same time.
Right, yeah. Pretty much simultaneous. And I think that's why I think really it was just Swink trying to react, and the 48, of course, Gingrich trying to react to that wreck in front of him more so than anything, because they saw that coming a bit, but they were just together there, and that's unfortunate. Have to see if anybody's out after that one, because we know a couple of faster pairs have been used, and it looks like, Michael, as far as pit stops go under this caution, pretty much everybody coming in. But boy, Robbie Lyons, Lucas Cram could not have got a bigger break. They're going to be able to keep their track position, get their pit, and be good to the end here as far as fuel. They can stay up front.
Yeah, I was agreeing with you. Go ahead.
You're good. And also, of course, mentioning Connor Horn, huge break, had just won a lap down, a few seconds before that wreck. So all of a sudden, he is now immediately back on the lead lap. And I imagine, as you mentioned, he probably pitted. This is why he went a lap down and was just playing out from there. Now he's good to go, and he can be as aggressive as he wants to be here.
Absolutely. All these cars should be good to go. Now, as for green-white checkers, it might be a little bit, but as you said, all these cars should be good to go to the end, and it's going to be interesting. And I can't wait to see how this is going to turn out.
So who do you think you're going to have your eye on here once we get to this restart?
Oh, no, I'm not. Don't you set me up to jinx somebody.
I wouldn't do that, Michael. Come on now. All
right, fine. If I had to choose, I would say I'm going to keep my eye on Christopher Tate, because he's been making some pretty bold moves trying to get a third lane going, and just more importantly, just feeling out his truck, seeing what kind of moves he can make with that truck with the tires he has. So I'm keeping an eye on Christopher Tate, and I feel like he might be able to pull off a win here tonight.
That would be a new winner. Obviously, we're only 2 rounds in. This is round 3 here tonight. So far, it's been Connor Horn, Alex Bell, your 2 winners in the series to start the season. And Bell with the points lead coming in tonight by a slim 2 points. But, a guy I'm going to have to watch, Michael, to kind of tag along to that is going to be Connor Horn, because this is very similar to that first stage where they got kind of the late caution. He was able to make, obviously, the charge before that from the pit cycles to be able to get up front and take control of that stage. You might be seeing something similar here in the back half of this race, but it's going to get crazy. Pace lights are out on the truck here. We're officially 1-2 green as they work along the backstretch. This is the SARG Superspeedway series here on FRN. Of course, the TI Racing, 200 at Daytona. Round 3, as mentioned, it's Michael Norman in the booth alongside Tyler Riggs, myself here. I know that's kind of an awkward reintroduction, but got 23 trucks now officially on the lead lap after that one. We mentioned Dylan Parker earlier in the broadcast. He had, unfortunately, some internet issues. He is out. Luke Parks in the 3 truck, who was strong early, he's officially done, 16 laps down and 31st there. And you got, as far as trucks running, 30 trucks still running out there. Steve Rada in the 8, Ben McDonald, Jacob Locklear, Chris Sawyer, Kyle Manger, Cuevas, Jacob McMillan, all at least a lap down plus, but still on the track here as we get ready to come to the green. It's going to be Robbie Lyons at green 97 to lead them as the pace truck pulls off. Christopher Tate in that outside line, and Lyons is going to take him green here.
15 laps to go as they take the green flag. That's not a lot of time for these drivers in the back. We should start seeing these drivers begin to slowly and methodically work their way up through the field if they can, but It's all going to depend on what line you're in. If it was me out there, I would probably want to stick to that outside lane as we're riding on board the race leader right now.
Yeah, that outside lane you mentioned is trying to get gathered up a bit. They're not really weren't great on that restart, but now they're starting to get there. And you got Hoff in the 9, who makes a big move to the outside, picks up the push from Christopher Tate in the 4, and he's going to lead going into the corner. And he might be able to actually get the big momentum off. Oh, he slides up a bit. That is some tight pushing there from Christopher Tate. But they're going to make it, and we got a wreck out of turn 4.
Wreck in the back. I see the 20 car going around.
The Brady Floyd in that 20 you're mentioning, that tie truck. Looks like the 5 Kyle Major is well involved. Turn 4. Oh boy, I see where this one started. Looks like, oh boy, Michael, in the middle of 3 and 4 there. There was a little bit of combobulation, some checkups going on, and then Brady Floyd in the 20 truck hit the apron, bounced up into Locklear in the 84, and then that got Major as well. Looks like the Millen in the 21 maybe got a piece. 42 of Sawyer, the 16 of McDonald, all involved in that one. As you mentioned, the back end, I heard there was maybe some blinking issues with one of the other trucks up there a bit, so maybe cause that chain reaction.
Yeah, just cars going all over, it seemed like. I didn't really see much of it, just a sudden stack up. You see the 11 car went to go past, he had 2 tires on the apron, not sure how they'd call that. And then when the 5 truck went around, it looked like perhaps a slight bit of net code on that. The 42, the 16 were also involved in that. Just very tough racing here at the back of the pack. I told you these drivers are going to start making their moves, trying to get up to the front. And just with all that stack up on the inside lane, it just kind of created a bit of chaos.
Right, yeah, that's a good point as far as, those guys in the back, for some of them it's go time, right? I mean, they're getting down to less than 15 to go at this point, and you wanted to be able to make those moves up through the field, as you mentioned, and kind of put yourself in the right spot to be there at the end. But now all of a sudden with that wreck, some of those guys probably not going to be in the where they need to be. We'll have to see if Brady Floyd had used his fast repair already, because he was the truck that had some success running up front there in that first stage. But I think a guy that slipped by that maybe got a bit lucky in that was Connor Horn, that 67. He's still got a clean truck. And that's going to be the guy to watch back for 21st right now. But it looks like a couple of those other trucks use up those fast repairs and should be good to go. Locklear, I'm seeing that 84 should be fine. I think Brady Floyd, he's still on pit road, Michael, and he does not have a clean truck yet, so he may be out of fast repairs. That'd be a tough break for Mr. Floyd in that 20.
It's very possible, and that's gonna ruin his night. Now, there's one thing I noticed before the incident took place, and that was with what the 9 machine did on the outside lane. He went a little too high in through 3 and 4, got the truck a little too high, and the 4 car did not like that. 4 car wanted to stay tucked in to the inside lane because that's what helps make the outside lane move up, is the side draft. And he just about turned the 9 car for doing that too, and he had to grab onto the brakes. So I'm pretty sure that the 4 machine of Christopher Tate was probably not too thrilled with the 9 car through that corner.
He definitely had to check up a bit, to your point. I mean, Hoff swung a bit wide there, and it created that danger zone you're mentioning of all of a sudden Tate's got his right front bumper on the left rear quarter panel almost of the 9, and that's not where it's not where you want to be, especially on a super speedway. We've seen that cause incidents, so we know that's a dangerous position, but they worked it out, and I think, Michael, you're going to be seeing some more of those close calls here as we, get back to this restart, because it is go time, all hands on deck. We know these guys are good fuel-wise at this point. Getting that extra caution, you should be good to go as far as green-white checkers are covered. I mean, it's going to be
that depends on how many green-white checkers we have.
Got 3 total, 3 full attempts.
I know. That's what I'm saying. How many we're going to use.
I honestly think, but with these cautions factored in at this point, I believe they're good to go, even with those. If we use the full 3, just knowing the fuel runs, you're going to be right around that range. But boy, Michael, we got some hungry guys up front here. The 2 winners so far in the season, Connor Horn and Alex Mill, not quite up there right now. I'm sure we will hear from them by the time this race is over. But Robbie Lyons, Brandon Hoff, Nick Olson, Christopher Tate, Gavin Jones, all guys that in the last couple races have proven to be able to run up front and, have a crack at it, but just haven't quite capitalized. You could throw Lucas Cram, that 44, into that as well, our pole sitter. He has had a couple poles down, and, still hasn't come through in terms of the finishes he's wanted, but it's a bunch of hungry guys up here trying to battle for this win. It all get real interesting. It looks like Robbie Lyons gonna take that inside line again on this restart, and he's gonna have a new challenger on Hoff in that 9 truck on the outside. Tate is gonna be looking to push Hoff probably pretty well off into turn 1 here, and then Lyons gonna have that 24 Nick Olson behind him as we get ready to restart with 11 laps to go as we come to the line this time. We're at lap 70, and pace truck is off here, and it'll be Robbie Lyons. Get him going, and a little bit of a, maybe I wouldn't say a hangback, but he definitely didn't jump out in front there, so wanted to make sure he got a good push from Nick Olson. And it looks like that's going to pay off pretty huge here as they're going to get way out in front of that outside line.
Yeah, I'm saying keep an eye on the outside lane, though. If they stay close enough, they could get the run off the corner. The 24 going to move to the outside. That's going to pull them side by side. These guys are definitely not done wrecking as they only have 11 laps to go making moves like this, but it's going to be interesting. Watch out. The yellow line rule is in effect. You cannot pass a car below the yellow line. Have to merge up. The 24 going to go to the inside now. It's going to open the door for the 9 on the outside.
Yeah, Nick Olson get a little bit of help there from his grit teammate and Hoff. And now Hoff, though, get an excellent push from Christopher Tate in that 4 truck. And these guys, boy, you talk about the side draft of Michael. It is getting real crazy with that. These guys are getting tight. And we do have a blinker back there, it looks like, unfortunately, maybe with Stephen Gale back there having some issues. But it looks like they've got that sorted out. And now Hoff is going to drop down in front of Olson, and the grit teammates out in front here.
I was about to say the question, does the 9 stay to the outside or not? But he goes down the inside. The top 3 cars are, wow, they just about wrecked right there, the top 3 cars did. And that's going to force the 4, Christopher Tate, out of line with no help. And
now Gavin Jones in the 12 on the inside. He's pushing off through there. And look at Spillman in the 88. He's got a crinkled up rear fender, but he's still up there running the top 3 now as they try to get sorted on the outside line. You mentioned the big loser, and that's going to be Christopher Tate getting shuffled all the way back there in that top line.
That might not necessarily be a bad thing if these drivers wreck. He might be clear of it. As the 9 car continues to lead, he's going to have to find a way to control both lines of the racetrack to block momentum, but with the way that these trucks suck up to one another, that might pretty much be impossible.
Yeah, and it's really going to display who's got the skill and who doesn't, because you mentioned controlling lines. That really separates the top-tier Superspeedway drivers from kind of a good to, great drivers, knowing how to control that lane and when to kind of make the moves. So far, though, Hoff really hasn't had to worry about it yet because he's been getting some good pushes from Gavin Jones and the 88 of Clint Spillman as well.
A 3rd line trying to form further on in the back, but is having no luck right now, keeping an eye. That 12 car Gavin should be glued to the 9 car's back bumper right now. You want to make a move probably around the last lap would probably be your best bet. But stay in line and push the car so it just comes down to the 2 of you. But the outside lane is not going anywhere.
No, it's not. And that 3rd lane maybe starting to form, you mentioned. And guess who's leading the charge you're trying to? It's the 67 of Connor Horn. Oh, and there's a wreck in the middle part of the back there.
Oh, that's a big wreck. Christopher Tate involved. I see, and there's other cars. There are other cars back there. Caution flag is out. And we're going to have a short shootout.
Yeah, and we probably won't invoke the green-white checkered here just yet. But, Michael, just as that 3rd line was trying to get formed up, they wrecked, shuffling a little bit. I think Mitchell Muma had said, my bad, guys. So we're going to have to see what that 40 truck did. And Connor Horn, I believe, did get a piece of that as well, and he might have already used his fast repair. So, developing story for sure here, right in the middle of the pack with that 40 truck.
Going to keep an eye on the 40 truck here in the middle of the pack. Oh, I see what happened. He went down just a little bit, and he got into the 41 and turned him back up into the racing, right up into the racing line, and took out a lot of trucks from that.
Yep, Moomer right there connected with Perot into the 41, as you mentioned, and that just caused that whole reaction. The 41 of Strayer being involved in that, obviously, that 41 truck. Christopher Tate in the 4, he has already parked it. Looks like Michael Swing got involved in that, not being able to go anywhere. The 84 of Vlog clear, the 8 of Rada. I think Connor Horn did take a pretty big slap from that as well, as we saw. Looks like the 71, though, Jordan Clark might have snuck through that, Michael. That might be the lone guy in that pack that really kind of, avoided disaster, if you will. Want to see if maybe the 11 as well. Murphy, yeah, the 11 of Murphy also getting down and making sure he avoids that. So a couple of trucks just slinking by. And we'll have to see what happens with Connor Horn, one of the race members. I heard over the radio, he said that might do the end. So I imagine he's maybe used that fast repair already. And if that's the case, we might be seeing a new winner here in round 3 if Alex Bell cannot work his way up there.
I mean, it's very, very possible. We were riding on board with the 11 right there to watch him go through that wreck, but I wouldn't necessarily call that on someone specifically, because it's just racing. He had a run. He was following the car in front of him. The car in front of him fishtailed just a little bit, trying to get back, trying to get in line, and he just kind of followed suit. I've driven these trucks. Depending on what kind or how the setup feels, these cars on the straightaway, they kind of skid a little bit. Like they're very light on the surface. I'm not really too sure how to explain it. Even on a steering wheel, when you're trying to get it straight, keep your car going straight, you're still kind of having to go like side by side because the air is just pushing your car all around. And yeah. I think what just happened was the air kind of pushed him down into the car, but right beneath him, and it just was on from there. So not really much of anything he could do about it.
Yeah, Michael, to add to that, as far as the air, what you're talking about with the loose condition, we know the temp isn't necessarily high on this track right now with it being late afternoon, but these trucks, and for the most part, the NASCAR Top 3 Series as a whole, are probably the most aerodynamic they've ever been in terms of relying on that air, as you're mentioning. So all it takes is just a little bit of a, kind of a bad angle, if you will, like you're mentioning, take some air off the spoiler or something like that. And then as you're talking about on a straightaway, even you're fighting some looseness. So definitely a bit of a chain reaction, like you're saying, as far as that wreck goes. And it's just deadly in the middle part of that pack, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get a brief shootout here. We're going to take a breather real quick, take a quick commercial break. Oh, maybe not, because we're getting the one to go, so never mind.
Yep. Got those quick EOs in effect for sure, which, not going to lie, is very nice to have on these super speedways, because, having that option to speed it up a bit definitely, makes these things a little bit more active, because it's a big track out there, Michael. If you go 3-4 laps under caution all of a sudden, it can be a bit tedious at times as a driver.
That's true. I just was hoping we had a chance to catch our breath for a second. This is going to be an intense finish. We're going to be 4 laps on this restart, and I don't even think we're done wrecking yet. See, also, I want to point this out. So you had me pick somebody to keep my eye on, and he wrecked. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you. I told you I didn't want to do it, but you made me do it.
All complaints can be filed to Michael Norman. Directly. Not me.
Christopher, if you happen to be watching this broadcast, blame Tyler. He made me choose. Anyways, back to the action here.
Put the old caster's curse on him. Oh, I tell you what. But, back to the action. It looks like Hoff is actually taking the outside line here in that 9 truck. Something different today. And this will be interesting, Michael. I think mainly it's because he's maybe trying to pin that 24 of Olsen on the inside. He didn't want Olsen to be able to push him ahead and then Olsen dive, away and take that lead like we've seen Olsen do on some of these restarts.
I mean, that's very possible. Excuse me, but you also got to remember this too. Clint Spillman's been a heck of a pusher as well.
Yeah.
So with him to his outside, that's going to be a good push for him. But not only that, but the outside lane gets the run off these corners, even on restarts, as the green flag's back out. So the outside lane preferably will be the best lane to be in, especially if he could get pushed clear of the 12.
And not a huge jump there by Hoff in that 9, as we were just under 4 to go now in this one. And they're still side by side. Gavin Jones on that inside getting a lot of help from Nick Olsen in the 24, and they're trying to sort it out in the mid pack. Mind you, folks, we do have 3 green-white checkers to use if needed here. And any caution from this point on would start invoking that. They're still seeing some blinking issues, it looks like, from 52 to Stephen Gale. And Hoff still holds strong on that outside, Michael, but hasn't been able to get enough of a push to come down and clear the 12 of Kevin Jones.
He'll get the run off the corridor and clear him coming off of turn number 4. We'll see him duck to the inside. Is going to leave Clint Spillman out. No, maybe not. They're both clear. Clint Spillman to the inside now, coming to 3 laps of racing to go.
It's getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Oh, a little bit of looseness there on the outside. I believe that is it's 24 of Olsen out there still. Excuse me, it's not the 24 of Olsen out there. He's on the inside. That is the 2 maybe of Kyle Manger. Or Kyle Dagger, who had been in an early incident. And now that outside falling apart a bit, and they're starting to shuffle up. There goes Nick Olsen of the 24 to the outside to try to lead that charge. He's going to have Robbie Lyons and Derek Newsom behind him. And then the big move from Spillman.
Clint Spillman going to move to the outside to block the run that's coming. He's going to be side by side, and there's a wreck behind him. One car hard up into the fence and upside down. I think Spillman had the lead at the time of the caution.
We'll have to check on that, but it was the 50 of Derek Newsom that got hooked just a bit, Michael, there in turn 3, and that caused all that chaos. It looks like him and the 33 of Cuevas got together, and then another huge incident right in the middle of that pack. I don't think anybody behind that one avoided it unless you came to a complete stop. There's some trucks really banged up in that. And then there's Nick Olsen also not too happy with Clint Spillman on that move. So drama, Michael.
Yeah, and that was incredible. If we can just keep an eye on it right here in the camera angles, we're gonna see this too. Just a lot of checkup, and the car behind, it's go time. You don't want to get on the brakes. You don't want to have to check up, but unfortunately, as we're gonna see here, it's exactly what you needed. 97 car went too high, and I think that was the 33 once again. Just the 50 truck, another wild ride for that for 50 truck. That's 2 wrecks he's been in. I think his night's done after the first wreck that he had to use that fast repair.
There's going to be quite a few guys with their night done on that one. Kyle Dagger in that 2, he's definitely done. He's already parked it in the garage, trying to see. There's definitely been some smoking trucks. Jake McMillan's in pit road right now. Some heavy damage at 21. The 8 of Steven Rado, who's already a few laps down. I mean, there's some weak. A couple of these guys coming into the pit lane smoking right now. Looks like that's the Clark's, he's in pit road. I mean, there is a lot of trucks banged up from that one. I think the 15 Alex Bells, or other race winner outside of Connor Horn, he's banged up. And boy, it's about to get crazy because, Michael, I think all this points to is basically these guys up front now have the chance to claim their first win of the season, knowing that Connor Horn and Alex Bell pretty much had their days ended by the damage. And that's going to be, boy, we might use all 3 of these green-white checkers. As it looks like Brandon Hoff is officially the leader, by the way.
We're looking out the back of the 44 machine. Tyler, if you look at the replay, just watch how that 44 machine was able to just sneak on by from the inside lane.
Yeah, Lucas Cram, our pole leader our pole sitter, with some phenomenal wreck avoidance. And that's a guy that desperately, Michael, wants to be able to get chance at a win here today. He's had a couple poles now and hasn't been able to capitalize, and that's what you got to do. You got to make those type of moves, have that type of reaction to make sure you're able to stay there for the end.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting. This is going to be our first attempt at a green-white checker. This is caution flag number 7, and all these caution flags, except for the one for the stage break, has actually come in the majority the second half of this race.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned kind of at the stage break that it'd be starting to crank up a bit in the intensity, and sure enough, these guys have gotten after it a bit more and a lot less give, right? And that's typically what happens with super speedways. People play nice in the beginning parts of the race, and then friendships become, rivalries and so forth as you go on into the back half of the race. But a lot of trucks taken out by that one, Michael. We've got only now 18 trucks on the lead lap.
Motor.
Mitchell Mumma, I know, is running out there with Mitchell Mumma is running out there with the blown engine as it stands in that 40 truck. He's currently in the top 10. So I'm not sure anybody else.
I'm not sure why he's staying out there with his engine like that, unless that's some type of iRacing glitch on. I'm not sure, but.
Yeah, it has to be because you're right. It's smoke, and he's staying out there. So that'd tell me his engine's still good, but he's definitely heavily banged up. No doubt about it.
Well, I mean, I guess he can only go down from there, but the only problem is if he's not even up to speed, that's just going to cause a massive jam up.
Yeah, and we don't have a lot of trucks up here, it looks like, for this lead pack as far as the restart goes. So we're about, probably, I'd say, what, 14, 15 deep maybe? About 14 deep by the time Stephen Gale catches up in that 52. And it looks like the 15 of Alex Bell, who's heavily damaged, is up there. But, yeah, down to 18 trucks, as I mentioned, on the lead lap. Connor Horn is parked still in pit lane. He is the last truck on the lead lap. Brady Floyd just got out of pit lane. And boy, a lot of good trucks taken out in that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. A lot of good trucks taken out, but we're going to have 2 laps on this restart. The lights are off in the pace truck. We're going to see what's going to happen. I don't think the outside lane is going to be really organized with that machine with that number 40 machine out there, but we're going to have to wait and see. Truck dives off. Green and white checker is going to come out. Green flag is back out. We're going to see what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, Muma had to pull up right there immediately, Michael, that 40 truck on the outside, as you mentioned. But Brandon Hoff on the inside in that 9, leading the charge here in the TI Racing 200. We are in that first green-white checkered, and it is dead even between Hoff and Spillman as they get off into the corner. Spillman's going to have some help from Gavin Jones in that 12 on the outside, but meanwhile Hoff is getting the push from Nick Olson. And will they be able to get the control? Also, Robbie Lyon, that 97 as well. Big pushes, and now guys starting to dive and maybe leave Spillman and Gavin Jones on that outside.
That's right, the outside lane not coming up to speed as often as it would be. Now Clint's going to be stuck up there all by his lonesome as you see them pass. I believe that is the 21 machine.
Yep.
Here comes the 24 to the outside lane. White flag, 1 lap to go here at Daytona.
Race is official at this point, no matter what. And Nick Olson in that 24 truck got a big push from Robbie Lyons. They coordinated up top, and Olson back down in front there of Hoff as they get off into 1 and 2. Who's going to make the other move? You see Lucas Graham, that 44 truck on the outside, second truck in line. He might be able to make a big move here as they get off into the backstretch, Michael. And it's patience coming into turn 3. You got to make the right move at the right time here.
Yeah, we are keeping an eye. Oh, a little sideways by the 24. Looks like it's going to be a drag race off of turn number 4. They're heading through still side by side. I don't think that 9 is going to come unglued from the bumper. Oh, the 37 car gets a little sideways. I think that's going to be all she wrote. It's going to be the 24 of Nick Olson that's going to get the victory as they're wrecking across the start-finish line.
And a big win by Nick Olson. Gets the help from Brandon Hoff. They hold off Robbie Lyons. Lucas Cram comes up just a bit short, and as you mentioned, they wrecked like crazy. It looks like Clint Spillman and them got involved a bit as they got across the line, but officially your top 3 here on the TI Racing 200 is going to be Nick Olson, Lucas Cram in second, and Brandon Hoff in that 9 truck in third. And we have our official 3rd winner in 3 races. Went Connor Horn, went Alex Bell, and finally now Nick Olson gets up there and captures him one. Rounding out your top 5 here, a couple of names that needed some big finishes and got them. Kobe Wells in that 45 truck, Michael, started 25th. He finds himself with the clean truck, finishing 4th today. And then Kyle Manger in that 5, who had kind of been up there but had been involved in a couple wrecks. And he survives, gets 5th. Gavin Jones holds on for 6th. Robbie Lyons 7th in that 97. Clint Spillman officially 8th in the 88, so there you go. Lucas Strayer rebounds, gets a top 10 in the 41, and Quinn Gingrich in the 48 gets a top 10, and then officially rounding out your lead lap cars. Chris Sawyer with the big comeback, finishes just outside the top 10, that 42 truck. Stephen Gale holds on for 12th.
I think our race winner is out of gas.
No, he actually blew his engine on the backstretch trying to do some gear shifting tricks and blew his engine. I heard over the radio. He's going to begin to push here from Alex Bell in the 15, who finished 13th on the day. The 56 of Blake Trara comes home 14th, and then Brady Floyd in the 2015th. Brett Murphy in the 11-16th, and finally in the 40, Mitchell Muma still out there on a blown engine. Michael found a way to finish on the lead lap in 17th.
Hey, points, man. You know, it beats sitting on pit road for the end of the race. So that if that could mean he could get out there and finish ahead of the drivers who were stuck on pit road getting repairs, then I'm sure that's what his goal was.
No doubt about it, for sure. And speaking of points, I mean, a big, big day for Nick Olson, especially knowing Connor Horn, unfortunately, comes home 23rd, 4 laps down, get involved in some wrecks. And that's part of the Superspeedway series, Michael. You got to take the good finishes when you can get them, because one week you may just not catch the breaks, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do we have our top 3 waiting for us,
We
Tyler?
do have our top 3 ready to go. We'll kick it off with Brandon Hoff here in that 9. Let's go ahead and drag him in. If I could. Here he goes. Hey, Brandon, it's Michael and Tyler up here in the booth. You got us. Brandon, it's Michael and Tyler up here in the booth. You got us.
I don't think he has a copy.
All right. We'll go ahead and try to drag in second place real quick and get back to Brandon here in a minute. We'll go ahead and get Lucas Cram in here, second place. Lucas, it's Tyler Michael up here in the booth. You got us.
Yes, sir.
Well, Lucas, you bring home a big second place finish. You've had a couple weeks now where you've gotten that pole but hadn't quite been able to capitalize. How do you evaluate today's race for you?
Yeah, it's nice to finally have everything kind of go well for me, to be honest. Was able to, qualify and pole again and just try to keep my nose clean and up front the whole race, and it paid off for me there. Got a lot of stage points and obviously led a lot of laps, so I might hopefully get that bonus point as well. So all in all, just, pretty, other than getting spun into the door there and kind of getting boxed in for that last green checkered, everything pretty much went perfect and smoothly. So I was just trying to work there with Robbie off 4. I was just gonna push him to the win, be content with that, and unfortunately, there's a large amount of Netco that knocked him out of the groove there, which really sucked because we were working at the race and he was doing a hell of a good job. So that was really unfortunate, but definitely happy that I could get a second place and that Nick was able to bring home the win.
Man, let me tell you, it was really incredible to see you get through that last wreck. You just barely got clipped in the rear quarter panel, but you managed to keep it straight and not get turned up into the wall. Did you, when you saw that wreck happen in your mirror, did you breathe a sigh of relief, or what was going through your mind when that wreck happened?
Yeah, I wasn't honestly really sure what exactly happened there. I knew that the 88 went up to block the outside lane and kind of caused a checkup, and then I heard Robbie yell like he got wrecked or something. So I kind of just turned left and was hoping I didn't get clipped. And I mean, it didn't really affect me that much because I was on the apron, so it kind of like the apron transition kind of kept me to the left. So luckily it was pretty easy there. But yeah, it was a little scary for sure. But that and the other incident where I got turned into the door was the 2 worst for sure.
Yeah, and Lucas, now kind of looking more big picture with everything going right today, as you mentioned. Do you think this kind of springboards you into some better momentum to capitalize on those strong qualifying efforts?
Yeah, I hope so. Just kind of digging my way up out of that hole from the first race, especially. Last week didn't go quite the way I wanted it to, but still got a decent run out of it. So definitely just trying to keep this rolling, and hopefully we can try to find ourselves victory lane at some point. Working our way up to the points as well, so I should be, I believe, top 5 after this race. So just trying to get everything we can out there, and hopefully we'll be up there towards the end of the regular season.
Of course, Lucas, now at this time, go ahead and we'll turn the mic back over to you and let you do your shout-outs.
Yeah, obviously a huge shout out to you guys for the fantastic broadcast. It's awesome to have you guys on board this season. Huge shout out to Robbie for co-owning the league with me and all the work he puts into it. Huge shout out to everybody that showed up in the race tonight. It's awesome to have these large car counts back. It's been a while since we had that, so it's been fun to have those. Huge shout out, of course, to Nick for getting the win there. Congratulations to him. Huge shout out to Grit Motorsports and Kyle Dagger. Sponsored the race last week with the Ultimate Driver Challenge. You can go sign up there at www.gritmotorsports.com. Registration's open through October 31st with $500 to win there. And that huge challenge to the league that's starting up there. And huge shout out to everybody that tuned in tonight and watched the race. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we appreciate you being here.
Sure, Lucas. We enjoyed watching that one. Great one to call as usual. Congrats on the second place finish. We'll maybe catch you down the road next week.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
That was second place finisher there, Lucas Graham. And now I think we got Brandon Hoff ready, our third place finisher in that 9 trick. Let's bring him in. Hey, Brandon, it's Tyler Michael up here in the booth. You guys.
Now I do, yes.
Yeah, I had some issues with that first time. It's all good. It happens. Technology's crazy. But, man, you had really put yourself up there all race and had seemed to be a contender At the end there, though, some moves were made. You couldn't quite get what you wanted to. Walk us through kind of the ending of that race.
Yeah, I kind of took it easy the entire race. I got my bonus point on the first lap, and then I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to the back and just ride. And then drove my way up there through the stage and positioned myself perfect. I lost the draft coming to the stage restart, I believe. And I got that caution a couple laps after that. And from there, I said I was just gonna drive to the front. But I thought I was in a good position. Those last two restarts, I thought I chose the right lane, and I thought I think the second to last restart, I definitely positioned myself the right way. I think last restart, it seemed right. I just think Nick had the help behind me. I knew Robbie and Kyle and Lucas behind him; they were gonna help him. So I knew I was the odd man out. But I had some help behind me at the end with Kyle. But all in all, good race for me. I think I'm the points leader now, so can't really complain. Just trying to lock myself into the playoffs now, and I got a good gap to 10th already, 3 races in, so I really can't complain too much.
Looking to see here, actually, at the point standings, you might just be second to Nick Olson. Well, no, you're right. You're right. Sorry, I lied. Nope,
That's okay.
that was the wrong number. You're right.
It's okay.
You should be the points leader now, but it's still definitely a very close battle. That's for sure.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I knew it, but
Well, and speak to, getting those stage points. We notice these guys are, you guys are going after those stage points pretty hard most of the time. How important is it for you kind of long term to be able to continually be consistently racking up stage points?
yeah, I was looking at the points before the race, and I noticed I had the most bonus points so far through 2 races. And I said last season I got off to a really bad start. I didn't have a top 10 finish until the race before the playoffs, and part of it was because of my strategy, the way I was going about these races. I kind of was, falling to the back right away, and then I would kind of ride in the back until about 15, 20 to go. And by the time I do that, they'd all wreck and I get caught up in it. But I said this season I'd ride out for about 10, 15 laps. By the first pit stop, get up to the front, and then the last half of the stage, just race for it. And the pit stop, I positioned myself well, and being in that front 5-6 cars really helps to get those crucial stage points. But they're everything. It's the reason why we've kind of built, I guess, me, Nick, Alex, and Connor, sort of, I feel like we've kind of built that gap to 10th place just because we've been able to rack up stage points and then finish it off with pretty solid finishes. But yeah, I really, and you saw last week with that block I was trying to put on Nick for the stage win. I really wanted to win it just because I know it's everything. Just I want as many points as I can. I want as many bonus points as I can because I know in the end, when it comes down to the playoffs, they're going to come in handy.
For sure. Brandon, of course, at this point, we'll turn it back over to you and let you do any shout outs you need to, and thank your people.
Yeah, I'm going to thank Grip Motorsports. They're a real big help to everything I do. Kyle Dagger, Nick Olson, Lucas Cram, everybody over there. They do a lot for me. I'd like to thank you guys for putting on this broadcast. It's a fun broadcast to watch. I've watched back the last 2 races, and it's been really good. So I'll watch back this one either tonight or tomorrow.
Oh boy, you're in trouble, Michael. No, I'm kidding.
Well, listen, I don't judge anybody. So I mean, you guys have been doing good. So don't worry, you guys are off the hook, at least from my vantage point. So
Right.
no, we're good. I'm looking forward to next week. Looking forward to the rest of the season. I think we're in for a good one.
Yeah, for sure. It's been an excellent show thus far, and of course, congrats on your big 3rd place there, and we'll maybe talk to you down the road.
All right, looking forward to it. Appreciate it.
And that was 3rd place, Brandon Hoff right there. And finally, we're going to bring in our big race winner, Nick Olson, at that 24. Hey, Nick, it's Tyler Michael and Booth. Yes.
Oh, I sure do.
Well, this one was one that, it came down to that final restart, of course, as we figured it usually does with these things. And you had been one of the guys that was real aggressive on the restarts when you're up there to, push somebody forward and then all of a sudden take advantage of the gap left. Walk us through your mindset as you're kind of right there on that last restart.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I listened to Dale Jr.'s podcast, and he had a bit last week. Ask Junior, and he was taking questions, and they asked a couple of questions from the drivers themselves, and he starts going into what he teaches some of those Xfinity drivers, how to race those races, and he said essentially take every run, do not leave anything on the table, and race every lap like you're trying to lead it. And if you do that, you're going to put yourself in the right spots. And all season, I feel like we've been doing that. So I'm pretty darn happy to finally get one, especially early in the season. The points are, fantastic to have going. Looking forward to the playoffs. Um, and but yeah, that's kind of my mentality when I'm out there running, and it's good to have some friends out there too that have the same mindset, that are right in your back pocket, that'll work with you.
Now tell us your perspective of the final restart there. What was going through your head? What was the game plan from the restart to the checkered flag?
Well, I mean, I knew from the start I had Robbie behind me, and we'd been working together. And unfortunately, we couldn't have that drag race to the finish line that I was hoping we could have, because he deserved a P2. But netcode strikes again. But I knew that Brandon, my grit teammate, by the way, so it's kind of funny. I knew he was kind of a set and duck out there. He was working with some other folks during the race, and earlier in the event, I think it was maybe 5 laps to go, I had tried to make a move on the outside on the back straightaway, and he'd put a block on me, and we got out of it, but I had to regroup and try again. So I knew that if I could get clear, with the 88 and the 12 being damaged like they were on the outside, that I could have the 97 behind me. And then, once I pulled out, I knew that he'd go with me. And then the 5 of Manger was back there as well. And I knew that he would go with us as well if he had the opportunity. So we took the run, and when you have nobody pushing you, it's just like you got the parachutes out. So I was able to get clear. Unfortunately, the 97 wasn't. So I pulled down, and then it was just a drag race from there. Unfortunate that happened to the outside line, but we'll take the win.
For sure, Nick. And one final question for you here before we get to the shout outs. But, you had mentioned the points are huge. And the first couple of weeks here, you had been one of those guys that had been up there contending, it seems like, the entire time. And things just kind of, fell through at the end. How big is this one for you at this point in the early season?
Man, it's big. I mean, it's been the last truck season actually that we had, which was about a year ago, was the last time I was able to get a win here. This is a league where a bunch of my great friends run every week, so and I value their driving talent, very high. And I consider, it an honor to come out on top of such an elite group of drivers, especially on a super speedway where, really it's anybody's game. So it's really how you're playing the runs, and how you're playing the strategy when you're coming to pit road. How much gas are you taking? I mean, it's those little things that you're taking into effect as you're working through the event. And they're the choices that are going to put you up there at the end. But you know, it's an absolute thrill to get a win. This early in the year for sure, especially you mentioned points. Regular season champion gets some playoff points, more playoff points than some other folks. So we're definitely looking for that. Talladega didn't go as he planned last week, but like you're saying, we're putting ourselves in positions. I think when I got hit in the right rear, I was in third, so second on the bottom. So you just gotta take those in stride and understand that they're going to happen, and move forward.
For sure, Nick. And of course, $10 richer tonight as well. So congrats
Oh,
on that.
hey, how about that?
Yeah. So, and of course, this time, go ahead and do your shout outs, and thank you, anything.
Of course, just want to say thank you to Kyle Dagger, everybody at Grit, Grit Motorsports Marketing. Proud to be a member of Grit Esports. We got this great event going on, the Grit Ultimate Driver Challenge. You could sign up, gritmotorsports.com. It's a really cool event. You got 7 regular season races and a championship race. 7 regular season races. You have 7 vehicles to choose from. Dirt tracks, road courses, NASCAR ovals, but you can only choose one car one time. So there's an element of strategy in there that I'm hoping people are gonna really look forward to and try to be a part of. We have that signups are going on here through the end of the month, so if you're wanting to be a part of it, it's gritmotorsports.com.
Absolutely. Of course, Nick, congratulations again on the big win, and we'll probably catch you next week.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all.
And that was our race winner, Nick Olson, of course, $10 richer. 3 different winners in 3 rounds now, Michael. And just kind of get your closing thoughts on what you saw today and what we got forward to look to.
I mean, it was exciting, action-packed straight from the beginning. You know, I always love commentating these plate track races because they're just so fun. You know, it's great being back in the booth with you, Tyler. It's been a while. And, you know, as for my thoughts, great win, great race. You know, it's just typical super speedway racing, and I'm excited, hoping to call more here in the future.
For sure, Michael. And then, of course, for you, doing a fantastic job on production night, Matthew Rodriguez, everybody else involved with FRN, and all these great drivers we got to watch tonight. We thank all the fans out there for watching and following along with us here at FRN. And this has been the TI Racing 200 here at Daytona. Catch us next week. It will be at Talladega, 75 laps, same time, of course. That'd be 9 Eastern here, all on the Flatout Racing Network. And once again, everybody, just want to thank you for watching, and everybody have a great night. This has been a broadcast of the Flatout Racing Network.